It's Sunday night, and that means it's once again time to put the world's greatest Skip Barber drivers to the test in round number 6 of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. This round of the championship will see drivers head to the famous Suzuka International Racing Circuit, and our coverage here on RaceSpotTV will start after these messages. The Suzuka International Racing Circuit plays host to round number 6 of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup here on RaceSpotTV, where qualifying has just gotten itself underway. While this racetrack is known as one of the most famous in all of Grand Prix racing, of course being the scene of so many famous finishes to the World Championship, both from back in 1988, 1989 and 1990, also in 1998 and 2000. Who can remember Michael Schumacher down on that kind of wet damn day, finally breaking Ferrari's years of heartbreak, claiming his first World Championship for the Scuderia. Now, I say qualifying is just getting itself underway. Drivers are working now on their first flying lap. To run through your championship standings after 5 rounds. 3 of the 5 rounds will be counted for the championship standings at this point, because 4 of the 12 rounds will be dropped. So only the best 8 of 12 rounds, once all is said and done, will count towards the championship. Richard Avery currently leads the championship with 135 points. A good start to the season for him. Ricardo Ferrer, 127 points. Romeo already in 3rd, Philippe Barber in 4, and then Vinicius Rocha rounding out your top 5. There you can see then your top 12 drivers on your screen and their championship positions. And you can see it's pretty close up and down the field right now. You can see a close gap between Arjun De Verde and Captain Liberty Garcia for about P8 and 9. Also Fabio Subran and Florian Trulich tied with 79 points right now for P11 and 12 in the championship. As far as the weather goes here today, well, it's variable conditions, and that will make things difficult for these drivers. Got a couple of drivers we want to pay attention to. Of course, we always want to pay attention to this guy, Philippe Barber, working himself on a lap right now. We get that qualifying grid up on the left-hand side of your screen, as the drivers will tick themselves on qualifying laps pretty darn soon here, as it's one of the longest laps of the season, and that is always one to bear in mind. So Barber, we ride ourselves on board of him then. This is the back end now, the run down to the 130R. We expect to see some passing here. You got yourself the club pit lane on your right hand side. There you can see the drivers heading themselves past now, and then into the 130R is reprofiled after Alan McNish's horrific crash there in a Toyota about 12 years ago now. Barber bringing himself into the corner on the exit of the corner. Just a little bit of a lift for him as he now comes down into the Casio Triangle, the slowest corner on the racetrack. You want to navigate that one as best he can, as on the exit of the corner he now brings himself down towards the start finish line once again. Well then, Les first laps in, Russia leads away, Mancusi in 2nd, Barber will do himself P3 for the time being there, Garcia in 4th, Ward in 5th, Kane, Daniels Defoe, Devlin, Lyret there, running out your top 10. We've got some big names up and down the field, but Vinny, well, he leads away after the conclusion of the first of our laps, working on board with the Jack Daniels car then. Number 45, Brazilian driver, working himself up through the S's. You've got to be picture perfect for the S's. If you get one little bit of it wrong, well, it's pretty much game over. Your lap is over. Vinny, though, nicely now through towards the Dunlop curve. This uphill left-hander where we have seen incidents before. It is worth noting that track position will be important here because we have seen on a number of occasions safety car on this track in this series. If we're due one, well, it's like to be here today. There is Vinny. There you can see Ricardo Farrow right ourselves on board with him in the number 4 car as he now heads himself from the exit of the Dunlop curve towards staying in number 1. We go back on board with him then, and we show you just how fun these two corners are. If you get them right, if you get them wrong, oh, it's absolutely miserable at times. As Farrow slowing it down to about 110 kilometers an hour on the exit of the corner, now building up the speed as he works himself down in towards a hairpin. We do expect to see then the second lot of laps coming up on your screen in just a couple of moments time. All drivers are on the racetrack with the exception of David Stefani. He will not do another lap in qualifying here today. It will be Rocha and Farah probably past start finish line first, but keep an eye out on Michel Mancusi there in the number 62 car as well. He will be towards the front of this group of drivers. We saw him on RaceSpotTV side by side as we got ourselves ready to go on air, but Mancusi will be one of these drivers who will be one of the first past start finish line. There you can see Rocha though, he comes down towards the 130R. He will, for all intents and purposes, be the first one past start finish line that we care about out of the 130R. Down he comes then towards the Casio triangle. So we get the sector times up for you. 53 seconds thereabouts there for sector 1. Sector 2, 38.6. Out of the final corner he comes then for Vinicius Rocha as he now brings himself down towards start finish line. Will he improve? The answer is going to be a 224.172. No, he goes faster. 223.937 past start finish line. Mancusi can only go second place. And now what can Felipe Bird do? He can't do anything. He's out of the car. It's all over. Tom Ward, it's all over for him as well. So these drivers, no one looks as though they can beat Vinny right now. No other driver has yet got themselves into the 223 bracket. And another driver not improving, well, that is Ricardo Farrow. His qualifying is done for the time being. Got a couple of drivers left to complete their runs. Fabio Brent on the exit now of the triangle. He's off. That's it. No more qualifying for him. He pushes one in the final corner of qualifying, and that is always a tough pill to swallow. As now just looking at Francesco Estivi there, working himself down towards the 130R right on board with the number 58 Audox racing car as he comes down in towards the 130R. And we'll get the safety times up on your screen as he comes down. Currently in P9, looking to improve. Gap to the driver ahead of him. That is Andre De Verde. That is about 0.2 of a second. Well, there you can see then, it's Steve on the exit of the corner, heading himself now down towards the start-finish line. And what time will it be for him? Well, it's going to be much slower there. 224.39351. Actually, that moves him up into P number 6. So a much better second lap for him as he works himself down past the flag stand. Qualifying, for all intents and purposes, is done. Just one or two more drivers to head himself past the stripe. We'll ride ourselves the back end of this lap along board with Matt Defoe. Number 40 machine. With that, qualifying is over. Let's run yourself very quickly through your starting grid for tonight's event here on RaceSpotTV. As you can see, that out front, it is Vinicius Rocha with pole position, and Michel Mancusi will start alongside him on that front row of the grid. Then we've got ourselves Ricardo Farrow in third, Richard Avery in the fourth position. We head on back, and it's Kepa Zaliba Garcia in fifth, Francesco Estivi in sixth, Tom Ward, Felipe Bird, Arjun De Verde, and Frank Winter running out your top 10. Then Paul Malokas in 11th, David Stefani in the 12th position. Rob Kane in 13th, David Grunhill in 14th, Ryan Dolan in 15th, they've got Subran in 16th, Kevin Daniels, Ewan Lampe, Matt Defoe and Karthik Pai running out your top 20 drivers. And then Rob Adams in 21st, Ryan Devlin in 22nd, Johan Carlson in 23rd, Marcel Seedale 24th, Brooks Layette, Richard Jones, Edward Cavalier and Francisco Tonin running out your 28 car field here today. While the cars are currently in their gridding process, they're not far away now from getting themselves ready to go racing here on RaceSpotTV for what will be the 6th round of the championship. There you can see your championship standings after 5 rounds once again. It's worth noting that this is a track that we've seen safety cars at before. The drivers will be entering this round with a degree of trepidation. They will want to make sure they can get themselves through that first lap at least and hope that there's no safety car. Otherwise, this race can really turn itself on its head. And of course, after this race, we'll be halfway through the championship. And that means momentum coming out of this race, well, that will pretty much be everything. We're going to get ourselves a look then at your grid. And there you can see, right here, looking on board with Francesco Esteve. A couple more drivers now to head themselves down onto that starting grid. Our aerial coverage today is brought to you by And1 Design. Well, just a couple of drivers now left to make themselves that journey onto the starting grid. There we can see, we zoom it in. We've got a couple of issues here today. There we are. Vinicius Rocha. There we see front end of the grid. Getting ourselves ready now to go racing. 16 laps. Engines are revving. And round number 6 of the championship will start right now. As you can see, a good start there by number 4 car. He's already going to dart all the way across the racetrack as they work themselves down in towards turn number 1 for the first time. It's a good start though by number 45 car. Down to that first corner they come. Who's going to be your winner? Well, the answer, it's going to be Vinny. Round the outside will look Manchuzi, Avery in 3rd place, and then Ricardo Ferrer and Garcia in P number 4 and 5. They work themselves now up the hill for the first time. This is where, if we're going to see a caution, we often see a caution. As you can see, our field all storming up through the S's for the first time. It looks as though they're all going to make it through without any incident, and that is exactly what we want to see. 28 drivers all through the first couple of corners. Absolutely no incident at all as we ride ourselves on board with the driver of Arjun De Verde in P number 9 as he heads himself through Dunlop Curb. Ahead of him is Philippe Leber, who is in P number 8 as they work themselves now down in towards Stenger number 1 for the first time. Well, this is where you're going to see a lot of curb clipping there, and this is where we could see another incident. We're going to have a look through our field. Looks as though everyone has made it through. No issues at all. We've got a little bit too wide racing all the way down the rear end of your pack. Right ourselves on board with Ron Adams even. And he's got himself Rich Jones behind him. A little bit of a bent wing on the rear of that 15 car of Rob Adams. But he looks as though he's still carrying on. And all drivers are still circulating in this event. Out front, Vinny leading right now from Michelle Mancusi. We ride ourselves on board with Mancusi, and there's the gap, about 2 tenths of a second as they work themselves on lap number 1 of 16 here, which means that your pit window, let's make it anywhere between about lap number 6 and lap number 10 in today's event. You won't really see anyone coming on pit road beforehand, but you might see that pit window being eked all the way out to lap 10. Some drivers expecting a caution, well, they might have to rethink their strategy already, because as you can see, we have been caution free for the first lap of this event. They've got Subran running himself in P number 17 right now. This is a little bit further down than he would normally do as we ride ourselves on board. He's going to stay right behind Ewan Lampe for the time being. On the exit of the 130R, they come down in towards the triangle for the first time. And Will Subran, he's dummying, thinking about making a move. Not going to do anything for the time being. However, a little bit further forward, you can see that Philippe Leber still putting that pressure on, receiving the pressure even. With Philippe Leber just ahead of him, Arjun De Verde 9th, and then in P number 10 is Frank Winter. And looks as though De Verde will look himself down to the inside as they come down in towards turn 1. You can see there, too wide into that first corner, and that was an easy path by Arjun De Verde. He's now up into P number 8. Ewan Lampe as well. They brought Subran. Well, Subran has moved himself up now into P number 16. Noah Lampe down into the 16th position on the racing circuit. There you can see Frank Winter versus Paul Malocas as they scrap it out for position. Right ourselves on board with Winter as they head themselves on the exit of the first part of the S's. This is where things get really tight. You're going to make sure your line is pitch perfect. Now, Winter going to hold himself the inside line there down into Dunlop. Going to push a little bit wide. We have seen drivers. We're going to see another one there. We've got our first of the race, and that is Paul Malocas. There you can see him. I was just about to say that we have seen drivers lose it on the run through the Dunlop curb so many times before. Paul Malocas, well, just proving my point completely. We'll get ourselves another replay of that, and we'll try and show you what happened in this situation. What generally is a case of drivers just putting their wheels, too many of their wheels, onto the white line on the exit of the corner, and that is exactly what we saw there. And, well, you can see that, simple as that, and straight into the arm curb barrier. Pretty much game over going to be there for Paul Malocas. He has tried to continue that race car, but he's on at the very rear of the field, cruising it back to pit row. Well down, very rear end of the pack right now, and already 20 seconds behind your race leader, trying to get that car back towards pit road, but he's got some toe issues and also no front wing on that race car, so there'll be some repairs required for him. And as you can see, there is your damaged suspension on the left hand side of your car where he made the impact with that Armco barrier. Well, we've got some nice little scrap going on here. There seems to be part of your field has bunched itself back together. This is Nuran Al-Lampi once again in the woods. This is Fabot Subran just ahead of him on the racetrack. But then you've got yourself Kevin Daniels, Carflick Pie there in a nice little scrap going on as well. Kevin Daniels, we'll ride ourselves on board of him, looking outside. Number 211 car there of Matt Defoe, not going to do anything on the run down into triangle. So they will stay as they are for the time being. Out front though, it's getting hot out front as we look on board with Michel Mancusi. There is your race leader just ahead, Vinicius Rocha, as we ride ourselves on board with Michel Mancusi through the sector 1. Just listen to the way that he takes this picture perfect. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I do think we have just literally lost ourselves our picture. Bear with us for one moment, and we'll be back after this.
Is it about speed? Do these rivals chase speed because they can? Or because they can't help it? IndyCar, the heart of racing. Go to IndyCar.com for live timing and scoring, upcoming race details, and to join the conversation.
For iRacing to get Le Mans is huge. I mean, this is a unique event, a unique track where, you know, half of the track is public road, so you can never test on it, you never get experience on it, and it's 8 miles in length, 4-minute lap time in a GT car. So, you know, even if you're here for an hour of testing, that's only 15 laps, and you're only going to see the corner 15 times that day. The first section going through the Dunlop area is pretty unique. You know, it's got elevation change and off camber. Then you go down Mulsanne into the chicanes, and you know, the straights are unbelievably long. It's a tricky track, and you know, every year I've come here, this is being my 4th year, you learn something new every time.
We've wanted to add Le Mans to iRacing for a long time, and we've really been working hard towards it for the last 5 years. But really, things only came together in the last week leading up to this race, so it was a real scramble to put everything together. The majority of Le Mans is public roads, so when they're preparing for the 24-hour race, it's really the only time that we can visit to laser scan and photograph the track so that we can recreate it in iRacing. We work closely with the ACO to get essentially exclusive access to the facility and everything that we needed to get the laser scanning and photographic reference that we need to create the track.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We do apologise for the brief technical glitch we had here. Welcome back to the Skip Barber 2K World Cup from the Suzuka International Racing Circuit. Suzuka Circuit, we are currently working ourselves here with 4 laps of this race already scored complete. I'm just having a look out front. It is still Vinicius Rocha leading the way. Whilst we were away, we have, I believe, had ourselves an issue. We have lost ourselves a driver, or someone's fallen down the timing scoring standings. That is the driver who was in P number 2. We're going to figure out what happened. We'll let you know as soon as we can. But there you can see Michel Mancusi all the way down now in P number 12 on the racetrack. This one happened whilst we were away. We'll try and get you up to date with what happened as quickly as we possibly can. As there you can see Michel Mancusi, his last lap time, 2:32. So he was lost 7 seconds that last lap. So that is what the issue is, and he is now classified as 8.7 seconds behind your race leader. We will see if we can find out if we've got anything that we can find there. Michel Mancusi, indeed, we might be able to find something. We're just going to try and see whether we can find it for you now. So let's have ourselves a quick look. This is Michel Mancusi. This is on the run down to the 130 yards. You can see at this point he has already lost a little bit of that ground. So Michel Mancusi deep in the pack now. So an unfortunate day for the Italian driver. Of course, we have seen in iRacing.com World Championship competition before. What it does mean is out front, Vinicius Rocha is pretty much untouchable right now as we work ourselves towards 1/3 distance in this race with a 1.8 second advantage over Ricardo Farah. Up the hill they work, and there you can see Vinicius Rocha. And there you can see just in the firm background of your shot there is Ricardo Farah, now over 2 seconds behind your race leader. It seemed to be that maybe, just maybe, you might get yourself a bit of a battle from Mancusi, but now that one's gone. Vinicius Rocha seems to be dominant out front right now. Avery, your championship leader, he runs himself in P number 4 in that number 29 Friction Racing car. Down and towards the hairpin they come once again. And Avery, since the start of this race today, well, he's not moved anywhere. He started P4, he is running in P number 4. So, no real improvement there for Richard Avery, but he is there in that second pack. They have got to get themselves a move on those. You can see also Francesco Estivi. He's been one of your biggest movers in this race. He's up a total of 3 places so far. So he started in P6, now running in that 3rd place, in with a podium shot, potentially. But it'll be interesting to see what will happen. It's a very long lap here, so you've got to try and make sure that you can keep things going over 3 very different sections. It's a bit like Spa-Francorchamps in some way. Because of that, if we go back on board now with David Grunhill in the 207 car, heading himself down in towards the 130R. Once again, a little bit too wide racing going on ahead of him there. That's Rob Kane and Adrian DeVert going side by side for the 130R. The winner of that battle, well, it looks as though it's going to be Rob Kane for the time being, but they all stacking up around him there. Almost 3 wide, down into the triangle, 1 driver pushed wide, and that is Michel Mancusi. He's going to go wide. There you can see Michel Mancusi being pushed wide there on the exit, on the run down into 130R. He's lost himself some time, and now he is down in P number 12. Once again, he's actually going to lose himself another position by the looks of it. Not the day he would have wanted at all here, as we have ourselves then a look. Here you can see Mancusi. He's just wiggling that car a little bit. I'm wondering whether he might have some issues to that race car in any way, shape or form. But now he works himself up the hill once again on lap number 6 of 16 here at Suzuka. A little bit of smoke just ahead of him, but it looks as though everyone else is keeping okay for the time being. As far as retirees goes, well, we only had 1 driver out of the race, and that is Friction Racing's Tom Ward, who classified as 28th out of 28 here today. Bit of a scrap going on. Here you can see Francesco is deep past Ricardo Ferrer. This is a P number 2 on the racetrack. We've had ourselves along board. We'll turn that camera around. As you can see, we've had ourselves now just up into P number 2. Francesco Estivi on the run down in towards the first staying up, moving himself on the Audax Motorsport car up into the second place on the racetrack. Ricardo Ferrer is now down into third. I'm surprised that Richard Avery wasn't a little bit close to try and take advantage of anything that might have happened there. There you can see Avery on the exit now of the hairpin, that long run down in towards Spoon Curve. It's one of these things where you can so easily just lax concentration for just one moment. But what you do in that case is you lose a little bit of speed. You scrub speed, you lose momentum. As you can see just ahead, you've got Farah battling still with Estivi, but they are now 3 seconds behind Vinicius Rossi, the race leader. It doesn't look as though they're moving forward any point soon. In fact, Estivi there getting himself a little bit loose on the exit of the Spoon Curve and the run down in toward the 130R that time by. So a slow lap for all of these drivers as Adrian de Verde and Kepe Garcia are now scrapping it out. This will P number 7, P number 8 on board there with Adrian de Verde. He loses a position there to Garcia into 130R. Yes, it's teammate, but you never want to lose a position at all in motor racing if you can avoid it. Still some very, very close racing there. We do apologise for some of the issues that we've been having with our video here today. We will try and get it sorted out for you as quickly as we can. We're getting ourselves now close to halfway distance in today's event. Here's your race leader then, Vinicius Rossi. We did say we'll try and look on board with a driver through the S's. We're going to try and do that one with you right now. Well, that is a run through the S's there for Vinny. As you can see, that gap is now up to 3.4 seconds. He is pushing it and increasing it with every single lap. Of course, some of that is that raw speed, but let's not forget that we have lost this driver, Michel Mancusi, who's now actually down to P number 13 in this race. So it's not working out at all well for him today. Michel Mancusi, we'll just get that graphic up on your screen. Look at that, down 11 positions, now at the rear end of a train. This is not what he would have wanted to have happened to his race at all today. But we ride ourselves on board with him now. This camera's just actually to the left-hand side of that front nose cone. And you can see that he's literally got a gaggle of cars ahead of him now. He might be hoping that he can get a couple of those on pit stops. That pit stop window is now open. We haven't yet had any cars onto the pit road. It's a long lap here. So that means that that pit window is a little bit shorter than what we'd see at some other tracks. And realistically, I said the pit window was open at the end of the last lap. I do expect to see some drivers coming down pit road this time by, as we'll be halfway the next time drivers head themselves past that position. Not this time, but the next time. Two-wide racing just ahead. You can see Frank Winter and Adrian de Verde. Every time I talk about two-wide racing at the moment, it seems to be that de Verde is somewhere in that mix, but we ride ourselves now with Frank Winter, P number 8. He's got Kepa Garcia just ahead of him, and also Rob Kane. But if we turn that camera around, you can actually see down into the triangle, he got himself that number 34 car of de Verde. Grunhill just running himself side by side right now with David Stefano. This is a battle for P number 10 and 11. It looks as though that David Grunhill will just, for the time being, win that battle. Anyone on the pit road? Yes, we've got one driver, and that is what we predicted, Michel Mancusi, as he was thinking that maybe he would try and do a little bit different thing on strategy. Well, he's kind of had to after it's been a miserable start to his race. There we can see Michel Mancusi on pit road. And let's have a look. We'll circle the camera back around and we'll ride this pit stop along board with him. Well, there we go, 14.2 seconds out and away for him as he brings himself out. A huge gaggle of cars, actually. We had ourselves Adrian de Verde on pit road, 13.4 second stop. We've had Mancusi there in 14.2 seconds. Yuno Lampi out in 12.4 seconds. Brian Dow in 11.9, and then Karthik Pai in 14.5 seconds. So we've had ourselves 5 drivers there in your first big gaggle of cars. We expect more drivers on towards pit road in the next 2 laps. Rocha, well, he's got himself a 3.4 second advantage right now. I do think that with the likes of Stevie, Farah and Avery, they're going to come onto pit road at the same time. If they can work together, they might just get themselves a bit of an advantage. You can see there the gap from P number 3 up to race lead. It's touching now to almost 4 seconds. Down into the spoon curve comes Francisco Esteve in the Audox racing car, as he's going to just hold that second apex. And this is another place where you can spin it around. Of course, also we're talking about a driver potentially losing it. We had a driver lose it, but now the Audox racing car, number 58 machine down. As we said earlier, the club pit on your right hand side, this long run over the racetrack. Now you come on towards the 130R, and Esteve's not going to be quite close enough there to Farah. But if you're going to make a pass, now's a good time to do it, so you can be the first person on towards pit road. Although Avery arguably has the best run of the lot here, because he will know when the 2 drivers around him come on towards pit road, and he will be able to react accordingly. We go on board with him, and you see 1, 2 on towards pit road. Avery will stay out there, and it did seem to be that Avery was dummying on towards pit road, but it's Stevie and Farah on towards pit road, as is your race leader there. So Rocker on towards pit road. We have ourselves a new leader. It's Richard Avery, but we've got ourselves your top 3 drivers on towards pit road at the same time. Well, then we can see we're going to get some 4 fresh tyres for Vinny first as he's into his pit box. But as we get ourselves a nice little look there, we'll get a look at the pit stop times for each of these 3 drivers, as they'll be out and away. 13 seconds there for Vinny. From Stevie, 11.7 seconds. And then Farah, this is a very long stop for him. Potentially a speeding penalty. He's still on pit road, so indeed it must well be a speeding penalty there for Ricardo Farah. He's allowed 2 people to just go past him. They were Matt Defoe and Rob Kane. So 26.9 seconds stop there for Ricardo Farah. Out and away in number 4 car. But that is an absolutely miserable stop for him. Yone Karjan, 13.5 second pit stop, and then Edward, no, that's actually, I'll take that back, we've got one other driver around there as well, but with all the traffic going on, we can't quite identify who that one is. So, 12 drivers in your lead group have not yet pitted. This means that Avery is currently your race leader. Second place, well, that is Philippe Burr for the time being. And then we've got ourselves Kepa Zeri Garcia in 3rd, David Grunhill in 3rd, and then Frank Winter wrapping out your top 5. We got ourselves on board then with Winter in the number 6 machine. You see the gap between himself and your current race leader, Richard Avery, is about 8 seconds. Being held up a little bit there by David Grunhill on the run down into the first part of the spoon curve. And it's one of those corners that can really catch drivers out. We talk about really there being 2 key places for unforced driver errors. We have the one on the Dunlop curve, then we have this one, the exit of spoon curve number 2. Grunhill, though, is going to put some pressure right ourselves on board of him. He's going to move himself ahead there of Kepa Zeri Garcia. This is down into 130R. Grunhill, for the time being, up into a podium position. Of course, this one won't last. He was running it inside the top 10 earlier. That's where we expect to see him a little bit later on in this race. Well, Avery then is on towards pit road to 1 lap remove. Richard Avery has himself on towards pit road. He will be classified. I think, yes he is. He's officially classified as leading this lap. Philippe Leber stays on the racetrack, as does David Stefani. So Richard Avery brings in a gaggle of cars once again. David Grunhill, Garcia, Winter, Subrin, Daniels, Devlin, all on pit roads. We have a look then at the pit stop time for Richard Avery. Let's see what he can do, and will he be able to get out around the place where he started. Of course, he wants to be better than 13 seconds. That is what Russia did. It's 11.5 seconds stop there for Avery. It's going to be close. Let's have a look, see where, oh, Russia's already passed there. Easily done there by Russia. His outlap was so much better, and you can see from the rear, the gap is astronomical to Avery. It's over. By my recollection, it's about 3 seconds right now. Now, Avery has gotten himself ahead of Stevie, but there we can see, pretty much nose to tail. Avery in 2nd it would be at the end there, but Stevie in 3rd, but no one can touch Vinny at all in this battle. Philippe Burr for the time being, leads this motor race. We ride ourselves a longboard of him down to the hairpin. Well, there you can see Barber in towards Boone Curve number 1. He comes once again. It's doing about 120. See a little bit of a wiggle actually for that car as he works himself down into the first part of this Boone Curve. Exit now, down he comes. And we've got ourselves realistically now just 2 drivers left in this race who haven't yet made their first pit stop of the day. As David Stefani also 7.1 seconds behind Philippe Barber, looking on board with the Italian number 11 driver David Stefani. Well, he's in front of this race, particularly in 9 positions. He'll fall back down towards the rear end of the top 10 once pit stops are complete. Lap 10 or 16, we said this was the outer limit for a pit stop window, and that is what Barber is doing here today. We expect him to, yeah, he's doing that, diving to the right hand side. Pit road speed here, it's incredibly slow, as we can see there, on towards pit road. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have just lost ourselves. We have ourselves some very serious issues today. We'll be back in just 1 second's time.
For iRacing to get Le Mans is huge. I mean, this is a unique event, a unique track where, you know, half of the track is public road, so you can never test on it, you never get experience on it, and it's 8 miles in length, 4-minute lap time in a GT car. So, you know, even if you're here for an hour of testing, that's only 15 laps, and you're only going to see the corner 15 times that day. The first section going through the Dunlop area is pretty unique. You know, it's got elevation change and off camber. Then you go down Mulsanne into the chicanes, and you know, the straights are unbelievably long. It's a tricky track, and you know, every year I've come here, this is being my 4th year, you learn something new every time.
We've wanted to add Le Mans to iRacing for a long time, and we've really been working hard towards it for the last 5 years. But really, things only came together in the last week leading up to this race, so it was a real scramble to put everything together. The majority of Le Mans is public roads. So when they're preparing for the 24-hour race, it's really the only time that we can visit to laser scan and photograph the track so that we can recreate it in iRacing. We work closely with the ACO to get essentially exclusive access to the facility and everything that we needed to get the laser scanning and photographic reference that we need to create the track. We were very fortunate to be at Le Mans at the most important time of the year and gain that experience of being there. And we're going to really do the best we can to put that into our work and making sure that the Le Mans in iRacing is the best Le Mans, the most exciting and accurate recreation of the track possible.
Is it about speed? Do these rivals chase speed because they can? Or because they can't help it? IndyCar, the heart of racing. Go to IndyCar.com for live timing and scoring, upcoming race details, and to join the conversation.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we do apologise once again for the issues we're having. Hopefully, everything is being fixed now as we head ourselves into the closing stages of this round number 6 of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup here on RaceSpotTV. As well, we can see 5 laps are remaining. when we left you, Philippe Barber, well, he was coming on towards pit road. There you can see Barber. He is currently in P4 as he works himself now on the run down in towards Dinger number 1. So we can see just ahead of him. The gap between himself and the race lead, by the way, 5.7 seconds. But the thing is, you've got yourself 3 drivers very closely matched. Richard Avery, Francesco Stevie, and Philippe Barber, separated by 1 second exactly on the racetrack. So this is going to be an interesting battle for the last part of the race. Give you an update on retirees so far. 2 drivers out of the race. We've had ourselves Rob Kane and Tom Ward. They are both out in P number 27 and P number 28 respectively. Apart from that, we've got pretty much every other driver on the lead lap. There you can see Paul Malocas. He is all the way down in P number 26, but if we show you the gap between himself and the race leader, he is officially classified as, well, somewhere towards the lead lap. We'll figure this one out in the next couple of laps, but we do believe that him and maybe Edward Cavalier maybe scored 1 lap down. 24 drivers on the lead lap. There you can see the last of the official drivers on the lead lap. There is Noah Lampe in P number 24 right now. Noah Lampe, he of course was up inside your top 10 at one point, dropping back in the middle stages of this race. Right ourselves on board then. Matt Defoe scrapping it out side by side down towards 130 yards. 2 wheels on the grass as we got ourselves almost a big moment there down to 130 yards. Defoe having to get out of it there, and he was very brave. That was his own teammates, and maybe that might be the reason why. But you got yourselves a number 62 car, Michelle and Susie there, right there in the battle as well, as they head themselves down through the triangle down towards the start-finish line. Once again, 4 laps to go. Things are getting exciting all of a sudden as well. Let's show ourselves a look on board then with the number 62 car. Down in comes on the outside now of the number 34 car of Arjun Deverd. And Manchuzzi, well, he's going to make that one pretty easy in towards that first corner. There you can see no issues at all, moving himself back up into the top 5. Of course, this is a driver who at one point was potentially in the running for the race win. But as it stands right now, he's battling out with Deverde and Winter. Battle for Peace 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the racetrack. You can see 3 teammates there, pretty much nose to tail. We've got Dave Stefani though, catching them. To give you an update, David Grunhill, he had himself a slow outlap or something by the looks of it. He's now down in P number 19, despite the fact he was running in P3 at one point and was there in this mid-pack at one point of the race as well. Our aerial coverage today is brought to you by And1 Design, official graphics partner of RaceSpotTV. As there you can see a look at your 2nd, 3rd and 4th place drivers. In P number 2, it's Richard Avery. In P number 3, Francesco Esteve. And then in P number 4, we have ourselves Philippe Barber. There you can see the gap separating by them. It's a nice, lovely overhead shot here as the drivers twist and turn around the Suzuka circuit. Down towards the spoon curve they come once again. 3.5 laps to go in this event. And let's have a look then on board with the driver of Philippe Barber as he works himself now down through the spoon curve. And you can see he's dropped back a little bit here. Maybe he's just trying to show a little bit of, just trying to show a little bit of a gap, trying to figure out what he can do and how he can close it down in the last couple of laps. But he has dropped back by a good 2 attempts on this lap alone. I'm not quite sure what he's doing, although Francesco Esteve is looking as though he's going to potentially go side by side with Richard Avery. No, he won't. They'll stay in line for the time being. So this is now what we call the waiting game. The calm before the storm. We're into the back end of this race, and what it means is that, well, we've got ourselves about 7.5 minutes worth of racing to go. It'll be the last 2 minutes of this race that you'll see things go crazy. And let's not forget, we've had 2 races this season that on the last lap, Philippe Barber has been in the position to win the race and is actually not. So we don't know what's going to happen to him, as we have got ourselves one more issue. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. down into the back end of this race here then at Suzuka. And, well, it's going to be, unfortunately, we do believe that it's an issue of our onboard camera system here. So we won't be able to show you any more onboards for today's event. There we can see this ongoing scrap we have at the rear end of your pack. As you can see, the 3 teammates, actually we've got 4 of the teammates working together right about now. They're trying to battle out the number 6 machine. As you can see, Michelle Mancusi getting a little bit sideways there through the through the spoon curve even. So now they run themselves down towards the 130R once again. We'll get your timing and scoring back up and running in the next 30 seconds or so. These drivers getting themselves too wide. As I say, we'll talk about the calm before the storm. This is the calm before the storm right now, as Michelle Mancusi is going to lose position there, as we got ourselves, well, that's 1 position lost, but this is where things are going to get very entertaining. It's all become now about track placement. Anyone who's ever seen a race at Mosport here will know just how important it is going to be. We've got ourselves 2 laps of this race to go. There you can see a race leader, but there's an action going on behind. Look at that action. This is a P2, 3, and 4. We focus our camera back even further. Look at this little scrap going on. This is for P number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 on the racetrack. Nice little gaggle of cars, and we're going to have the number 62 machine working himself on the outside there, down towards the first corner. And then we've got Arjun de Verde there, working ourselves just behind Frank Winter and Matt Defoe scrapping it out as well. Then you see the 3 teammates, and also David Stefani's actually working themselves side by side with Catholic Pie. That's not Catholic Pie, that's Ricardo Ferro actually. And of course, Ricardo Ferro was one of these drivers who's up at the front end of this grid at the start of this race. Then it all went horribly wrong for him during the pit stop sequence. Got himself a speeding penalty, pretty much putting himself out of the event. And then, well, he's just about cracked into the top 10, but that is not what he would want it to have happened to him here today. Avery still in 2nd. Stevie still in 3rd. Leiber still in 4th position. As we have our look down in towards the hairpin, these drivers will come once again on the exit of the corner. Now they come down in towards this very fast section that leads themselves down in towards Spoon Curve. We will have ourselves 1 lap to go at the flag. These are your top biggest movers and shakers in the race. Rocha, well, he started on pole. He's currently on the 1st position. Avery up 2, Stevie up 3, Leiber up 4. Mancusi down 4 positions. Of course, he has rebounded. At one point, he was down all the way down in P number 13 in this event. He has moved himself back up into the top 5, so the pit strategy worked out for him. Garcia, your biggest loser in the top 20. Malocus and Kane have gone slowly, but here comes then Leiber, Avery, Stevie, almost going to be 3 wide there, down towards 130R. Avery loses 2nd spot to Stevie. They will see the white flag this time by. There will be 1 more lap to go. Vinny is loving this because he knows all he needs to do is a lap, not blow the gearbox up, and he will be your winner here today. Down he comes to take the white flag. 1 more lap to go here at Suzuka. Stevie in 2nd. 3rd place is Avery. 4th place is Leiber. Don't forget, the finish line is very, very early at this racetrack. In comparison to some, it's pretty much on the exit of that final corner. Leiber thinking about looking to the outside as they come down in towards turn number 1. So we've got ourselves a nice little scrap going on here. Let's see what's going on in your pack behind as well. They are single file for the time being. In fact, they've broken themselves up a little bit. You see you've got yourself another pack right now. Arjun de Verde is falling down somewhere. And then you've got yourself the likes of Catholic Pie, Yoni Carlin, Box Levesque, Arjun de Verde, and Ryan Devlin. And actually, so I can see de Verde has got some damage to his rear wings. We do think that he might have been spun around just a moment or so ago. Back to your front of your field. Avery and Leiber looking as though they might just allow Stevie to pull ahead a little bit so they can reel him in on the back end of this lap. But for Avery, it's all going to be about timing. The race victory, well, that one is done. But for Avery, it's about getting as many points as he can as far as the championship goes. This is the championship standings heading into this event. So realistically, Avery will gain an advantage over Farah. And he's going to gain an advantage over Leiber. And even though Rocket is going to be further ahead of him on the grid and the points here today, it's not going to make that much of a difference overall. Avery will continue to lead this championship after this race, but he wants as many points as he possibly can get. Leiber in P number 4 then. Let's have a look on. Let's have a look at him as he comes down in towards the spoon curve for the final time. We get a look at our aerial coverage brought to you by And One Design. Down into spoon curve. There are your three drivers, pretty much nose to tail. This is where things start to get really interesting now. Is where you get these drivers getting that drafting going, getting that momentum going. If you are a Stevie, some will say that you're sitting duck, but who knows what will happen in the last couple of corners of this event. We can see already Avery's looking himself side by side. We'll get Barber going down to the inside. Barber almost going down to the inside. Avery will take it. Barber. Oh, Barber, another incident on the final lap of the race. We'll go back to that in a moment. Vinicius Russia will head himself out the final corner. He will win today's event here today. Then we get ourselves Richard Avery in second, Philippe Barber rounding out your top three here today. And then you got yourself Frank Winter, Matt Defoe and Brian Dow rounding out your top five. We'll be back with podium celebrations after this.
For iRacing to get Le Mans is huge. I mean, this is a unique event, a unique track where, you know, half of the track is public road, so you can never test on it, you never get experience on it, and it's 8 miles in length, 4-minute lap time in a GT car. So, you know, even if you're here for an hour of testing, that's only 15 laps, and you're only going to see the corner 15 times that day. The first section going through the Dunlop area is pretty unique. You know, it's got elevation change and off camber. Then you go down Mulsanne into the chicanes, and you know, the straights are unbelievably long. It's a tricky track, and you know, every year I've come here, this is being my 4th year, you learn something new every time.
We've wanted to add Le Mans to iRacing for a long time, and we've really been working hard towards it for the last 5 years. But really, things only came together in the last week leading up to this race. So it was a real scramble to put everything together. The majority of Le Mans is public roads. So when they're preparing for the 24-hour race, it's really the only time that we can visit to laser scan and photograph the track so that we can recreate it in iRacing. We work closely with the ACO to get essentially exclusive access to the facility and everything that we needed to get the laser scanning and photographic reference that we need to create the track. We were very fortunate to be at Le Mans at the most important time of the year and gain that experience of being there. And we're going to really do the best we can to put that into our work and making sure that the Le Mans in iRacing is the best Le Mans, the most exciting and accurate recreation of the track possible.
Welcome back to RaceSpotTV. It feels as though we've been as bad as ABC today, so we do apologise for some of the technical glitches we have had. However, we're down to post-race interviews now from round number 6 of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup here from Suzuka circuit, which has caused us a couple of issues here today. But one driver who has been absolutely dominant is the one and only Vinicius Russia. We'll talk to him in just one moment's time. Before we do that, however, we'd like to run ourselves through your finishing grid here today. Your finishing results even, with Russia finishing in first, Avery in second, then Barber third, Winter in fourth, Defoe in fifth, Dow, Stefani, Kajin, Pi, Lorette rounding out your top 10. Of course, let's not forget Barber. This is the third race in 4 that he's been involved in an incident on the final lap of the event. Arjun DeVerde in 11th, Ryan Devlin in 12th, Kepes Olivia Garcia in 13th, David Gunhill 14th, Francisco Stevie 15th. Of course, Stevie was at the very front of that field. He was the other driver involved in that truck car. Then Robert Anderson 16th, Marcel Seedel in 17th, Rich Jones in 18th, Abel Suber in 19th, and Ricardo Ferreira running out your top 20. That was the final part of the result. As Vinicius Russia, congratulations, winning round number 6 of the championship.
Thank you, Will. Well, What can I say about this race is that in the beginning I knew that it was impossible to break away from the guys behind me. But luckily, Mikael, he won. And that's a very tricky corner. I myself had spun there today, so I had a bit lucky there. And after that, I knew I had the pace to continue in front. So all I had to do was focus, drive my best, and that's what I did. Without mistakes, this race was one of the best that I had in all the seasons of 2K World Cup.
Well, you qualified on pole, you got the fastest lap, you were pretty much dominant out front. But this is one of the most difficult racetracks on the schedule. Just how hard is it to keep your focus, knowing that you're so far out front, knowing that you've not got any competition, so that you don't make a silly mistake?
Fortunately, it's one of my favorite tracks, so it makes it a little easier since I enjoy every turn here. So for me, it was most having fun there. I don't know, hot lapping first because nobody was near me, so it was not so difficult for me. Yeah, although it's a difficult track, but I like it very much.
Well, congratulations on the race win, Vinicius Roca. Of course, we've got ourselves also a driver who's once again been involved in a couple of issues on the final lap of the race. Philippe Barber, coming down into 130R, it looks as though it was all going crazy. Yourself, Richard Avery, Francesco Estivi, you got yourself into contact there with Estivi. What happened from your perspective?
Well, I don't know. It's just, well, we were through wide in 130R, and everybody knows that's pretty difficult. In that case, well, there's always a way to go on the concrete on the outside and try to stay alive, but that didn't happen, and we made very minor contact, and you saw the result.
Well, you've got yourself a third place out of it. Stevie felt well down the racing order, of course. The final lap's been kind of haunting you this season, which one of the things about this series is that it does lead to some very close racing. Is it how difficult is it to bounce back after having so many close calls in the final lap? Of course, this one wasn't for the race win, but arguably, could you set yourself up for a very strong second place with the ability to go down the inside of Avery in the final corner?
Yeah, that final lap is haunting me, but I think it's because of the kind of racing we have in this series. Especially on drafting tracks, it all has to happen on the last lap, and everybody's just waiting and waiting and waiting, and then giving it all in the last lap. And well, there are things that are bound to happen when it's like that.
And that is Philippe Barber coming home in third place. We've got ourselves Matt Defoe coming home in P number 5 here today. Well, Matt, there is a very big gaggle of cars around yourselves. You came home towards the front of it. Take us through your race, but also the final crazy couple of laps for you.
Yeah, good to be here, Will, finally. Nothing special during the start. Qualified near the back, which I usually do, and just had some luck. I had a couple guys work with me. Yuha, he sat behind, and we caught up again, and yeah, from there it was just get in and out of the pits quick and wait till the end for the action.
How important is it to have teammate support if you do fall back at one of these events? Because we've seen that you've been able to come forward and you had your teammates pretty close together. It actually reminded me a little bit of the final stage of the Tour de France from earlier. But how useful is it to have, you know, some people who you can work with rather than just race with?
Sometimes it's vital, sometimes it's not a big deal, but it's definitely good to have friends out there. And yeah, we have a pretty big team, but working together all week to get on pace, and then in the race, yeah, it's nice to have someone who's willing to sit there and work on strategy rather than fight every corner.
Matt Defoe coming home in P number 5 here today. And then finally we've got Ryan Devlin, who came home in the 12th position here. Ryan, take us through your event. Ryan?
I had a great race, Will. I'm glad to see that you're back also. And I started in P22 and was able to make my way up to 12th, so I can't complain. Suzuka has always been a track that completely haunts me. and I was finally able to get through it. So I'm just happy to finish this one. Suzuka has been a really, really rough track for me, and yeah, it's great to finish. Thank you.
Not to worry, Ryan Devlin there coming home in P number 12 here today. They can see once again the final end of your results. 28 drivers took to the field here today. Some did a lot better than others, and we had ourselves a couple of incidences once again on the final laps of the race. It seems to be the close racing caused a couple of headaches for people at the end, but it's still incredible racing from beginning to pretty much end, as that is pretty much all we have time for here today in this round of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. Of course, we are back next Sunday. We've got one of the biggest weekends of coverage you'll ever see from a sim racing broadcaster in just 1 week's time, as we take you first to the 24 hours of Spa. We started endurance racing here on RaceSpotTV, and it's the second time that we'll do a 24-hour broadcast from Circuit Spa-Francorchamps. You've also got coverage of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series, and also to cap off your weekend, we'll come back for round number 7 of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. In the interim, this has been a RaceSpotTV presentation from Suzuka. It's been Will Vinton. We'll talk to you all next time. Bye-bye.